Just like we have our major and minor intervals, we also have something called major and minor triads. And triads, as the name implies, consist of 3 notes. Now, when we are determining which 3 notes triads consist of, we need to look at our scales. So for major triads, we look at major scales. So for example, let's take a look at the G major scale. If I want to make a G major triad, I'm going to take the 1st, 3rd, and 5th note of that scale and stack them on top of each other. That makes a G major triad. We can do this in any key. Let's take a look at D flat. If I take the 1st note, D flat, the 3rd note, F, and the 5th note, A flat, and stack those on top of each other, I get a D flat major triad. So when I'm building my major triads, I need to take the 1st note, the 3rd note, and the 5th note of the major scale and stack them on top of each other. That is going to make the major triad. The same rule applies to our minor triads, but instead of using a major scale, we use a minor scale. So let's say I want to make my A minor triad. Well, first I need to look at my A minor scale. If you'll remember, your A minor scale has the same key signature as your C major scale, because A minor is the relative minor of C major. So I take my 1st note, 3rd note, and 5th note. Stack them together, that makes an A minor triad. So the difference between our A minor and our A major triad is only 1 note, and that's our 3rd. So if we look at that middle note in the chord, we'll notice that in A major, it is 1 step higher than it is in A minor. That's because minor chords are just major chords with a flat 3rd. So when we're listening to these chords, we can use the same trope that movies have instilled in us from the beginning. Major is happy, minor is sad. Take a listen to a few chords and see if you can decide whether it sounds happy or sad. If that doesn't seem to be working for you, you can also try to break the triad apart and compare it to the major scale. That one's minor. So triads are always built on the 1st, 3rd, and 5th of any given scale. For minor triads, you use the minor scale, and for major triads, you use the major scale. We can use our ears to determine whether or not these triads sound happy or sad, or you can just compare them to a scale and try and discern whether that is a flat 3 or a normal 3. Again, with any kind of ear training, you really have to practice it in order to get better at it. There's very few times where someone hears a minor chord for the first time and can instantly identify it as a minor chord from that point on. So do spend the time, use those additional resources below the video to practice identifying those major and minor chords and get used to what those sound like. Good luck and happy ear training time, I guess.